Alrighty, guys, specifically those of you on YouTube, welcome to what will be a jury-rigged version of the Xcom 2 War of the Chosen, the Better Raiders World Class Overview. I say jury-rigged because, well, this is actually streamed there, Chief. I'm actually streaming this right now. I had a bad Halo Reach session with Coyote, and, well, I'm just kind of not sure on what to do, so I'm just gonna do this and set up the next stream. So, yeah, for those of you who have never watched one of my playthroughs before, I always do this at the end of the campaign just to share my thoughts about what I think of all the classes that we used. And considering that we used a big pack this time, Richard's classes, it's probably going to be a lot longer than normal. But if you guys don't want to listen to me ramble off for like about an hour maybe, then you guys can just skip this week for the next pre-campaign setup video. But for now, I'm gonna blabble on about all the classes. Might as well throw in the hero classes too. I know I talked about them before, but hey, if this is already going to be like almost an hour long, then might as well just go all the way, right? Talk about all the Richards classes, all of the hero classes. I'm gonna do psionic Mech Troopers and normal Mech Troopers separate. Gonna say a few words about Wibbles, all that fun stuff. So without further delay, let's get this started. As always, we'll go through this alphabetical order via the select soldier screen. And those of you on YouTube, you won't have to deal with me setting up all the classes, but because this is stream, those of you on Twitch are gonna have to, but I will still edit this out in post. So just hang on just a minute and I'll set this all up. Alrighty, so first on the list is our assassin. I didn't really get to use these guys too often, but they're kinda like a weaker version of the sniper in my opinion. I don't really use their sword too often because we have another class that's already dedicated to the sword play. So I can't really say much about them. But if we look at the abilities here on this guy, Snapshot does have its uses. I remember when I played the original A Better Advent so long ago that I had a Snapshot sniper that was probably the MVP of the campaign, if not very close behind. Now Snapshot is actually very useful, but sadly we just didn't use him a lot because he showed up like halfway, probably closer to the end of the game than that, and you just didn't see much action. Yeah, it's essentially just a snapshot sniper with a sword. Not really much to say. Like I said, if I had more missions with them, I'd be able to say more. But overall, I mean, it's a sniper, right? I don't really use snipers all too much personally, but I have had some good moments with snipers in the past. But of course, there's already a designated sniper and a designated sword class, so oh well, better luck next time, Chief. Moving on. Alright, so next up is our gunner. We can barely see her face, but this is Sagara, our only gunner that lived to the end of the campaign. And gunners kind of remind me of Long War, right? In Long War of the Chosen. They're pretty much essentially just rangers from Long War of the Chosen. Alright, but just with a cannon instead of a gun, and they have a little fucking butter knife here, which I barely used. But gunners are definitely very powerful. They were very useful here. You know, the cannons obviously are a little bit more powerful than your typical assault rifle. And, yeah, you know, Bullet Storm, whatever that is. Bullet Storm, just a lot of shooting abilities here. +2 damage with primary weapons, +1 damage, so she's just doing a shit ton of stuff. She has Gatling fire. I didn't really use anything else because I just went full shooty on her. It would have been interesting to see maybe like a Overwatch version. Probably could have used something. +4 mobility would have been useful for the battle suit. But I mean, they're just good, solid, sturdy, shooty classes, so it is what it is. Obviously, the battle suit makes them a bit more like a juggernaut than anything else. But without the fucking Juggernaut suit, they're just solid shooty classes. They're kind of on par with the Rifleman, except for the weapon difference. So there you go. Alright, next up is our Mech Troopers. Mech Troopers are kind of unique on their own, but overall they're kind of one and the same, right? Some could say that they're essentially just Sparks with human heads. But these Sparks with human heads come from actual soldiers. So, I mean, they're still actual... I mean, I'm not saying Sparks are actual soldiers or not, but you kind of counteract that they're just Sparks with human heads thing. It's like, these were once your normal human soldiers, so I guess, in a way, you kind of feel a little bit more attached to them than just a normal Spark. But, I mean, I treat all my soldiers, human or robot, equally, you know. It doesn't matter if it's a robot or a human. You lose a soldier, it's a big hit to your roster, especially early on. And even in the late game, you know, you lose one or two of your max rank soldiers and you're really, really hit there. But overall, I really like how Mech Troopers are essentially brought back from Enemy Unknown. Enemy within, to be more specific, but when I used to play Enemy Within a lot, I'd always just go for Mech Troopers over genetics. Like, eventually I'd get both, but I'd always start with Mech Troopers just because I think robotics are cooler than genetic manipulation. I mean, you can't really say one's more ethically and morally right than the other one, because you're either stripping a person of their humanity and turning them into a giant stomping robot, or you're mutating them to absolute hell. So I don't know, I can't really say that, you know, one's more morally correct than the other one. But, I mean, humanity does what humanity needs to survive, and Mech Troopers are one of them. I know there's a gene modification game mod out there. But overall, I mean, Mech Troopers have different base abilities that through each other with their different mech classes. But, I mean, they can take a beating and they can dish out a beating, you know. Not like fucking lots of health, lots of armor. I'm pretty sure if I would have gotten further in the game with these guys, I'm pretty sure they get more armor-based abilities as time goes on. Alright, bonus points of armor that scales. I'm pretty sure Sola has it. Yeah, 2 plus 2, 4 pips of armor, plus whatever else. So yeah, mechs can be pretty tanky. But at the same time, with all these different enemy mods, you kind of need a tanky unit like this to even have a chance against them, so... No, it's kind of like how Phoenix Point is, but Phoenix Point is a lot worse. It's like, because, well, Phoenix Point, that's only the base game. With Xcom 2, it's modded and all that stuff, so you have all these extra variables. With Phoenix Point, it's just the base game. That's really kind of stupid in that way. But anyway, that's Mech Troopers. We'll probably see Mech Troopers in the future. If not, Mech Troopers may become one of my just used mods. Just one of my consistently used mods. But we'll see. Overall, basic Mech Troopers are pretty cool. Alright, so next up is Mages and Psi Operatives. I'm doing both of these guys together because they're essentially the same thing. The only difference is the Mages don't need the Psi Lab to level up. They just gain normal experience, which is kind of nice, you know. It's not just you throw a rookie into the Psi Lab and, you know, like a couple months later they're all of a sudden a super soldier. I do like that about mages better than psyops, but at the end of the day, I like how Longmore handles psi operatives a lot better right? You train a rookie as a PSYOP, but then they actually have to go out into the field and get experience like a normal soldier before you have to throw them back in the side tube again. Right, that seems to be the most balanced PSYOP in the history of XCOM 2 PSYOPeratives. But, yeah, I mean, they're PSYOPs, right? They're super crazy, powerful, mind-wielding, crazy super soldiers, you know? And besides, it's good to have an early PSYOP in XCOM 2, you know? Because, I mean, Advent has the Sectoid early on. Why can't we have an early PSYOP? This mod answers that question. But there's not really much else to say about them. I mean, they're PSYOPs. They've been here since vanilla, so... Alrighty, next up is our Marksman. The Marksman. Now, the Marksman is essentially just a vanilla sniper rifle renamed. A vanilla sniper renamed. Which is not bad, right? They're definitely cool, though, still, not gonna lie. Definitely cool. I wanna see if I can find it. It's the nuclear comrade sniper rifle. Anyway, enough of that. Snipers are snipers. I mean, I don't necessarily use snipers a whole lot myself, only because they're just not my playstyle. But when I do use them, they shine. So I guess, you know, it's a fucking way to tell myself there. But I mean, yeah, I don't know what else you want me to say. It's a snapper. It's really cool. Although, one thing I will say about Richard's class of sniper rifles before I forget, I like how they get a mark ability, and I like how it doesn't cost an action, so you can mark and still shoot. It actually came in very useful during this campaign, and I actually really liked how it works. Alright? Instead of like having snapshot or something, like just have a marked target like admin officers. I think that's infinitely better than fucking, what's it called? Snapshot. Only because it just gives that extra bonus to aim, and that extra bonus to aim really comes in handy at times. It's really been a lifesaver here, so that's one thing I'll say about Richard's class of snipers. Definitely good, definitely good. Alright, moving on. Alright, moving on to our medics. Now, those of you who haven't watched my XCOM gameplay before, medics are kind of cursed in my playthroughs. Medics and specialists, well, medics and hackers are always kind of cursed in my playthroughs because I hold them very highly and I really like my support. I really don't like going up on a mission without some sort of medical support. So when we lose one, it's kind of a pain. I know in the early game with a better Raiders role, we definitely had some issues there. That they don't have a ranged heal right off the bat, so that's kind of a pain to deal with. But they do get healing darts eventually, and healing darts is kind of like, you know, it's a must-have, right? Because, you know, it's kind of tricky not having a ranged heal. Phoenix point. My ass. I mean, they're still good, right? They're good. I mean, their shotgun lets them do something, right? They're normally not in the front lines to do much unless you're under Commander Sunstrider's rule, but other than that, they're definitely good. Sadly, any support unit of any kind is cursed with me. But, they're solid soldiers, what can I say? Psionic Mech Troopers. This is an interesting one. First of all, I wish they had their own custom animations. Having the normal gun animations on a Spark with no gun is kind of not legit, but oh well. What can you do? Psionic Mech Troopers. One thing I will say right off the bat, I don't like how the only other way besides killing enemies to get focus is you fucking damage yourself to get focus, right? That's not really legit. I don't really like trade-off abilities like that where you have to risk killing yourself in order to get psionic abilities out. I don't like those kind of systems, and I hate it when games utilize it, but I mean, you can still kill enemies, you can still get channels, so at least there's those two. So it's not all bad, and at least you don't need focus to do like Null Lance, Soulfire, Mind Control, and all that stuff. So at least you don't have to use focus there, but it's interesting to say the least. Kind of annoying that they can't overwatch or anything, so you just have to end your turn when there's no action going on, but other than that, I have a little bit mixed feelings about these guys. I'd have to use them more to get a solid opinion on them, but other than that, not much else to say, so let's move on. Next up is our Raider, and this is our kind of designated sword class that I was talking about earlier with the Assassin. This is essentially just a renamed Xcom Ranger, but starting off with combatives is nice. Combatives is definitely a totally balanced ability. Other than that, everything else seems very on par with a Ranger. You know, minus some extra log war abilities. It seems very on par here. And then of course Judgment can allow enemies to be panicked by the lolly. Only because of the character, not because of the actual ability. So yeah, other than that, it's essentially just a Ranger with Long War. Well, an XCOM 2 vanilla Ranger with Long War Shinobi abilities, I guess is what you can call it that. And then we have our Reapers. Reapers is probably my least used hero faction class because I don't know, but it just is. But it's kind of sad considering that they're like just straight up potential. I like all the hero factions and their special classes, because I don't use them a lot. I don't know, and it's kind of a shame that the weapons here don't really the weapons kind of fuck up the animation, so that's a bit of a shame, but oh well. I mean, just don't use those weapons then, I guess. Yeah, obviously, you know, Remote Start, aka Deletion Protocol, Silent Killer, Sting, all that stuff is great. They're Reapers, they're good at stealth. What do you expect? Alright, next up is our Rifleman, which seems to be your typical run-of-the-mill trooper. This is definitely has been one of my most used classes during this campaign. And they're kind of on par with the Gunners, minus the weapons, minus the available weapon systems to them. They, respawn side weapon. Sorry, I'm getting off topic here. But, yeah, I mean, they're your typical shooty class, you know? Rifleman, infantry, ranger. You know, they're all one and the same, all those modern classes. Minus maybe the secondary weapon. I didn't really use their claymores all too much because we had Reapers for that, so it's kind of counterproductive with the claymore there. I wish they had maybe a more useful secondary weapon that definitely would have been a lot better. But overall, the solid classes, they pair well with the Juggernaut suit. They pair well with the combat suit, whatever it's called again, the battle suit. You know, their shooty abilities pair nicely with the non-turn ending rocket barrage and magnetic miniguns. So yeah, you know, I definitely enjoy me a good shooting class, so all in all, solid class. Alright, next up we have the Sparks. The Sparks, well, I mean, Sparks are nice. They have, sadly, Sparks don't really last too long under my command, so I can't really talk about any of their other abilities, but Sparks are kind of on par with the Mech Troopers, except for their unique class stuff here. I normally just go down the adaptivate punchy route with Sparks. So, yeah, they're essentially just fully anonymous Mech Troopers, and as always, Julian is my favorite Fire Axis made character. Like, it's in XCOM 2, it's not like a modded voice pack or anything. Julian Shan is my favorite XCOM 2 character by a long shot. I love you, you sarcastic robot. Get out of here, fam. Next up are our SWATs, aka our Arc Thrower classes. The Arc Thrower definitely comes in handy very good. It's good to stun and disorientate those big, mean, modded enemies like Custodians and Biozerkers and stuff if we don't have a PSYOP to deal with them for us. And their shotgun's good for getting up in close range. Close range! Yes, Radbird. And yeah, there's just a very defendy, very tanky infantry class, and it's never bad to have one of those guys with you. I just wish I got one up to max strength so I could see what their max strength abilities were, but other than that, pretty solid class at the end of the day. Alright, next up is our Skirmisher. For those of you who are not new to my channel, you'll know that Skirmishers are my favorite hero faction just because they have so much versatility with a lot of their abilities and weapons not being turn ending. The grappling, the shooty, the zappy, all that stuff. They're just a very versatile, very well-rounded class, and I love them. For that reason, they're just good at killing things, and I like killing things. Who doesn't like killing things? Technicians! Technicians really shined this playthrough. I wish I had more than one of them, but I will never forget that Sectopod Annihilator hack. Helena, you're beautiful, and I love you for that. Alright? That Sectopod Annihilator hack was so good. Hack Plus definitely comes into a lot of effect here because Hack Plus allows them to gain hack score as they hack things. So that definitely helps. A little OP, maybe, but like I said, OP enemy mods, OP classes. That's just the way it is. I really forgot about like Burn Protocol and Shock Protocol and Aim Assist Protocol and all these different protocols I totally forgot about, and I wish I used them more. Maybe next time if we ever use this mod pack again. And next we have our Templars. Templars are in second place on my hero class list. I mean, they're good at stabby things. Sometimes stabbing things are a little bit risky, but sometimes that's just what you have to do. You know, they're good stabbing things. They're essentially just a non-psionic Mech Trooper. You know, that's how you get psionic Mech Troopers anyway. But, yeah, I mean, they're Templars. Psionic stabbing. A psionic ranger, essentially. It's Wobble Wobble Wibbles! Hang on. Wobble Wobble Wibbles! Oh my god, Coyote, you did such a fucking good job on Wibbles. And I know you're in the chat still, I think, so... Wibbles, wibbles, wibbles. Sometimes his AI bugs out, sometimes he has stupid chrysalid moments, but hey, that adds to the enjoyment. But, one thing I still wish is that I wish I got him to max rank. Coyote, if you're still here, does he have a max rank? Or does it just stop at Major and Colonel's just a joke, like a haha, gotcha, fam? Don't spoil what the ability is. Just tell me if he can get to max rank or not. I haven't been able to get him to max rank. I've just been that unlucky. I really want to get into max rank, but don't spoil the ability if you are in fact still here. Original Fury's nice. I don't like how it's sometimes guaranteed free claw attacks. Like, just make it Blade Storm. Make it always guaranteed. Like, come on. Just make it Blade Storm. That's what I have to say about that. I haven't really seen him use the Flamethrower a lot. Void Rift is Void Rift. Bullet Storm. I'm drifting in and out of sanity right now. Well, just tell me. Does Wibbles have a max rank? Don't spoil the ability, just tell me if he does. Yes, he does, okay. Also, why is Vigilant Fury only sometimes? Why isn't it just a Blade Storm copy? Like, I mean, even enemies have guaranteed, even some modded enemies have guaranteed Blade Storm. Why can't Wibbles have guaranteed Blade Storm? What gives, Chief? Ah! Why is it only sometimes guaranteed free claw attacks? I don't get it. Why would you nerf Wibbles like that? Why would you do that to our boy? Same reason all the enemies are because sometimes things should happen and just don't work. I don't know. I still think it should be an always guaranteed thing, but oh well. Oh well, that's just a small little nitpicky thing, considering that the fact that a lot of enemy mods do have guaranteed Blade Storm, so that's just me. It still does. It doesn't ruin Wibbles. It's just something that's weird. Shivs. Hitbox doesn't allow it to be consistent. Damn. Shivs. 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 I've never gotten a shiv past Sergeant, I don't think. I just wish a shiv would last longer than Sergeant. I can't. I can't say anything about the shiv because it doesn't live long enough. I don't know, hopefully I could get a ship up to past Sergeant sometime soon. But other than that, I can't say anything about it. And anyway, that concludes it here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Feel free to say your opinions in the comments below. Now, if you excuse me, I have a new mod list to make. So with that happy note, I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. I'm not going to start the stream.